The Toronto real estate market is over the top. It is so expensive. So maybe it's time to look outside of Toronto. In this video, I will look at should I invest outside of Toronto? Hello friends, this is Yossi Kaplan, your friendly Toronto realtor, and today we're going to talk about investing in Toronto and outside of Toronto. Um, what are the pros and cons of investing in a Toronto real estate market versus outside of Toronto real estate market? Okay, so let's take a quick look, and I'll give you a few projects and I'll show you examples and give you some hints of how to look at investment when you're investing in Toronto versus out of Toronto versus in Toronto. Okay, so here we go. All right, the first thing I want to tell you here is my name is Yossi Kaplan. I'm a Toronto realtor. This is my Twitter, twitter.com/Yossi Kaplan. If you haven't been following, please do. All the good stuff is posted here, whether it's Crosstown, which we just launched VIP, assignments, secrets of investing, should you still buy a condo. There's a lot of information here. This a recent listing we have. We did the renovation for it too, why your assignment's not selling. It's actually a really good repository of a lot of information, so please do use it. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is the stats for the Toronto real estate market, and this is from the TREB, and they've been measuring this since 1973, and what you can see is the prices are going up all the time. Now they will average across time, and some years, like in the late 80s and 2 years ago, we had unreasonable peaks that happened for various reasons. In the late 80s, it was because of inflation, and recently, probably because of other topics. But what's important to understand is inflation is built into the economy. You cannot escape it. That means the prices will always go up, and you will always become poorer and poorer. You'll always have less money than you had yesterday. Okay. Some work we're doing here, Fashion House Condos, dedicated sites just for one building. So if you're curious about this site, you can go here. Urban Realty Toronto is where I post all my articles, and these articles are becoming longer and longer these days. So I'm writing 1,500-word articles to try and give you more understanding of what's going on. Each of these articles is accompanied by a video, and they're very detailed in explaining exactly how to think about marketing, how to think about selling, how to use assignments, all the good stuff. But the thing is that the market is so expensive that people are starting to look outside of the market. So there's a Toronto Star article that, although it came a year ago, it's totally good for today. GTA millennials look farther afield after new mortgage rules. But mortgage rules or non-mortgage rules, the prices from last year went up by 10 or 15%. So what are you going to do when your salary is only going up by 2%? Inflation is 3 or 4. That means that already you have less money than yesterday. And then the real estate market is going by 10, 15, or 20%. Okay, you have to do something about it. So if you do not invest in real estate, where else can you invest? Stock market, but you don't know what's going on there. Buying bonds, gold, that's difficult, and it's kind of almost like an insider club where if you don't have information, they probably just take it to the cleaners. So a lot of people invest in real estate. Real estate, like myself, immigrants love real estate because it's safe, because we know what's going on, because we know we have a key. We can get a rental income. So let's say I buy a condo, straight up for $500,000, and I get my $2,000 a month. That's 24 a year gross income. If I bought it for cash, and let's say my carrying cost is $500 to $600 a month, I still have $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month left, and that's my income. And that's what a lot of immigrants been doing all these years. They come with cash. The Canadian dollar is very, very low. That's why so many buying here. There's a lot of immigration here. So you grab yourself a piece of property, you pay cash for it or half cash for it, half mortgage, and then you take the money out, and you can use that money for living until you set yourself up with proper business, proper cash flow in your new country. So that's a lot's been going on. At the other side, people have been here, whether they're immigrants, first, second generation, or they're Canadians, which means they're still immigrants as fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th generation, whatever. Everyone's an immigrant here. Don't forget that. Then there's accumulation of value in the family. So, I bought a condo, then I gave it to my children, who gave it to their children, on and on and on. And throughout the years, if it was managed well, then the family wealth has increased. It's been increasing because of inflation, because of the attitude, because they took some profits and reinvested, and that's what you need to do. But if you're new to the investment game, or somewhat new to the investment game, you need to accelerate your speed. You need to make better decisions that will make you more money faster, and of course less risk and higher ROI. Okay. Now these days there's so much product out, and the problem that I see is that a lot of investors, they call themselves investors and have good intentions of investing, but they don't know what they're doing. I wouldn't fix my own teeth. I wouldn't cut my own hair, although I tried that. I wouldn't really like do anything that I'm not considering myself expert on doing. Real estate is a little different because everyone thinks they're an expert on real estate. I mean, wherever you go, people talk about real estate, whether they're millennials at the park or retirees on the bench, whatever it is. Everyone knows everything about real estate in Toronto, especially if you're downtown or if you're in the suburbs. So everyone has an opinion, what it's worth. Of course, you see a lot of the people that, yeah, it's too expensive, but those are usually renters that just can't really get in. But the investors themselves, are very, very smart. And most investors are very smart, make good decisions. But, when you're in a market that keeps going up all day long, the Toronto real estate market is good to you. But at some point, the price increase and acceleration of increase is so fast that it's very hard to understand what's going on. It's very difficult to actually know what to invest in. So this video, I want to look a little bit of what do you do when the market is going so fast and you're really getting priced out of the market? You can't really afford being in the market again because all these things, even the assignments are at $500,000, If I can find you an assignment for $500,000. A few months ago, we're still buying assignments at Yonge and Eglinton in the fours, but now these units are in the fives. Still, in my opinion, a fantastic investment. But for $500,000, I can get you an hour away from Toronto, or 2 hours away. Still Ontario, still very good. Still the same country, the same province, same rules, same everything. But you get a 2-bedroom for instead of the bachelor. So you should do it. There's a lot of factors to look at. Okay, so obviously people are doing it because if it made it to the star a year ago, it's happening because people are, and people that I speak with, if they can't find something they can find in Toronto, they'll find something out of Toronto. So Hamilton is obviously the fastest growing metropolitan area in Ontario after Toronto. If you Google 10 most expensive cities in Canada, you find in Hamilton is quickly becoming in the top 10. So Hamilton used to be really cheap, and my friends used to go, 10 years ago to Hamilton. Says, we're gonna go pick up a house like an old century home with 3 apartments for $180,000. Why don't you pick up with us? Maybe I wasn't doing it at the time, but obviously these houses are now worth 5 to 800, some even $1 million. So does it mean you should run to Hamilton and buy? Well, maybe. Maybe you should, but Hamilton is becoming expensive and complicated, so you should definitely get some help on that. At the same time, there's other communities around Hamilton, which will be my immediate places to look at. Obviously, the one that I've been talking about is Brantford. Let me see if I can zoom out and show you Brantford. Where are we? Brantford should be right here. I may not see it because I'm zoomed out too much. Let me just put let's put the directions, and you'll see from Hamilton to Brantford, and I'll explain why is that important. Okay, so Brantford, Ontario. Okay, so here we are. Give me the directions, please, Google. Oh, here we go. So it's 39 kilometers and 35 minutes away from Brantford right now, according to Google. And the idea of Brantford is that it sits on a 403. So the idea of any secondary investment, secondary to Toronto, is that it's a thriving community. It's a community that is stable, that it makes money, and it's got jobs. Jobs are necessary for stability of the economy and stability of the area you're going to invest in. So to me, that's very, very important. And not too far from Brantford, of course, you find Cambridge right here, just on top here. And then as you move a little bit west, you'll find Guelph, Kitchener-Wateroo. So let's go to Guelph here. Guelph, Ontario. Okay, so just north of, there's Guelph, and then you can see Kitchener-Wateroo, but let's add that. Kitchener. Okay, so here's Kitchener, and that's Waterloo. Okay, so it's literally the same metro. They kind of consider, and I'm gonna add London, Ontario too. So there's London, all the way west here. Okay, that's where I went to school. So London is farther away, but it's a bigger metro. It's about 500,000 people there, maybe more by now. And of course, if you want to go west of London, you can go all the way to Sarnia. Okay, so I'll put Sarnia just so you can see on the map Sarnia. There she is, right there. Okay, so Sarnia is all the way west. It's literally right on the U.S. border. a couple large bridges there. And the idea is to be close to a border with the U.S., just like Hamilton, St. Catharines, Niagara, is that there's a lot of traffic going and there's trade traffic between Canada and the U.S., mostly trucks with various goods, agriculture goods, processed foods. We send them agriculture, we send them maybe parts from factories, and they send us similar stuff, okay? No worries about tariffs here. 80% of anything that is made in Canada, or grown in Canada, goes to the US. Don't forget that. Probably about 10% goes consumed inside Canada, another 10% global consumption. So that's what you're looking at, okay? To me, staying on these routes, I'll just switch to, lost my internet connection here. I'll reconnect, and let's see if that's going to help me. See if I can restore this map. Okay, good. So in this Toronto here, so Toronto, Mississauga, $1,000 a foot in Mississauga, $1,000 a foot in Toronto is still worth it in my opinion if you can find one. But they're literally like dying out. But if you can find $1,000 in Toronto, $1,000 a foot, you should totally look at it. And the only way you can find $1,000 foot in Toronto is resales and maybe an assignment. There's literally no new construction in Toronto for $1,000 a foot. The other day, someone was asking me for $6,700 a foot, and then I'm starting to look outside of Toronto, so that's where I'm looking. Hamilton, you can still find $600 a foot, which to me is very, very good because it's literally half the price of Toronto. Yet it is really a suburb of Toronto. I consider that anything from Hamilton all the way east to say Oshawa it's all Toronto now. Okay. The nice thing about if you stay on the 403 is it's relatively an easy road to drive, and it's relatively has no traffic. So to go to Brantford, it's a little more, but you can find a complete house here for 300, a brand new fancy townhome for 500, and you can find mansions for $1 million, especially if you go along the Grand River. You can also go here to Paris, Ontario, which is a smaller community. But they have a lot of $1 million homes in Paris because it's a retiree community. So there are like Port Credit, these are retiree communities that it's worth your time to look at. Now, once we open that bag of what we want to look at, like the sky's the limit because there's so much to look at. Nonetheless, Guelph, where is Guelph? Okay, so Guelph, has a university, which is really good. The universities, they feed cities. Universities, they're big places of jobs because they create jobs. You need to maintain the university, structure it, all the people that work there, all the people that come and live there. So it creates an entire economy by itself. And that's why university towns are always very attractive to investors. Similar, of course, with Kitchener-Wateroo. Let me zoom out here for a second. You get like a better view of where we are. Go to the lovely 3D. There's Guelph Metro, and you can see it's all green around. You can pick up some nice farms here. Okay, so Kitchener-Wateroo, very close to Guelph, and as you know, some of the best universities in the world, Waterloo, best math computer programming, maybe in the world, is right here. I mean, we're just as good as all the American schools and any international schools. In fact, Google, Facebook, even Disney Studios, they all come to these universities to pick up fresh grads because their math skills, and what they do with the math skills is they generate programming and algorithm for artificial intelligence, for movies, for animation, for render. All these things are created at these universities. These are massive research centers. Don't forget that RIM, BlackBerry, came out of Waterloo and basically done all by Waterloo grads, okay? And I believe that the people that started RIM, BlackBerry, they're probably from Waterloo or from the university. There's a big connection here, okay? London, of course, knows for the Richard Ivey Business School where I attended for my master's. But it's a big town. There's 500,000 people here, so they need jobs, they need housing, they need to eat, they need a doctor, they need a lawyer, they need everything. So it's got a small airport, you can see here. It's got everything, okay? And it's more affordable. Now, when a community is more affordable, that also means that their average salaries will be lower. So there's a ratio, and you must remember it's relational. If people make more money, they tend to pay more for everything. So the food costs will be higher, the living costs will be higher, the rents will be higher. and the cost of the condo or the house will be higher. I mean, look at San Francisco. It's, the most expensive city in the Western world, and the moment that all the .com and the tech boom started there in the early 2000s, prices went up like crazy, and you can read a lot about San Francisco. They have serious problems, not like Toronto, their own problems, of course. We all have our problems, but they have people that are making like at least $200,000 a year, and then they have a lot of people that are not, and how they do it. Well, luckily here in Ontario, we got lots of space to grow. There's lots of physical room, even without going to the Greenbelt. Do not go in the Greenbelt, my friends. Leave the Greenbelt alone. Okay, quote me on this. Leave the Greenbelt alone. We do not need to build there. We need the Greenbelt. It's fantastic. It's better for everything, even for house values. Okay, so London is a great opportunity for you, and to a lesser degree, even Sarnia. Now, why would I invest in a place like Sarnia? Okay, that's really off the map, and I don't have anything for you to show you in Sarnia, but I'll tell you this: when you look at Sarnia, you look at Thorold, you look at Port Erie. These are places that are very stable. They've been there for a long time. Sarnia is a border town, so border town always have things going back and forth. It's also got a GM plant. I think it's still there, and it used to have some a vitamin company, Jameson Vitamins. I think they were there, and they got some industry. So that's good, because these are stable, long-term places that provides jobs, whether you work in a factory, you service the factory, you engineer there, you're on the line, whatever it is. So to me, that's a very, very good thing to look at, okay? And the prices are lower. So if you're priced out and you look at something like Sarnia, it could be good. But let's go back to my main areas here, okay, which are Hamilton, Brantford, Guelph, Kitchener-Wateroo. That's what we're going to focus in right now, because this is where I find the fastest growth, and I find that there's a lot of really good developments happening here. So if Toronto is too expensive and you're looking for outside areas, I have some options for you in the Hamilton, in the Brantford, in the Guelph, and in the Kitchener-Wateroo areas. So just to show you a few things, okay? So this is Condo now, and in Toronto, I just punched Toronto, and just look at what comes up. So here's the Well, phenomenal project just down here. And it starts at about 700,000. Okay, or 532 square feet. Now you can still pick a 532 square feet here, King West, even at the Thompson or Fashion House, for about 550 to 600,000. So you can still save 150 to 100,000 over these condos. That's still possible. Okay, you can go up to Crosstown, which I made a video just the end of last week, which is a beautiful community, and you can still buy stuff there under $500,000, which is very smart. You can find a large unit at the Well for 1.5 million, but that's not maybe an investment unit for you. We can go to 550C, which is Young and Bloor, beautiful development in the mid 500s, maybe 600s, and on and on and on. And you can see the moment you move to St. Clair and Weston, you're down to 500, but it's a 500 entry. And then everywhere else you go, it's more or less 500 until you really get out, and then you can find something maybe for 400. Okay, but of course, the further you go from the center, also the salaries go down, and the economic value of the area goes down. So it's a give and take. The further you get out, the lower economic scale will be in the area, and of course, your future tenants and the people is going to buy from you. So what you want to do, and that's the first step, is very, very important. What you want to do is you want to find a really good area at the cheapest place. Okay. What does that mean? That means that you want to find a very good investment to maximize your ROI. So you want the value of your investment, the perceived value, to be the highest, but the price to be the lowest. And you want your tenants, your future tenants, or the people going to buy from you to make the most amount of money. So that's why I like university towns, because we all know that the professors and all the staff at the university make very good money, and the students that go there, they can afford school. And a lot of them stay at the schools either teaching or helping out or working in the areas. That's particularly true for London, Kitchener-Wateroo, Guelph, because these are university towns with the highest forms of education that we can get in Canada. Okay, there's also Queens in Trent, Peterborough, but we're not going to the east side today, maybe never. So that's your choices here. So if I punch Kitchener, I got loft here at 254 to 400. I got DTK condos, which are, by the way, around $700 a foot now. So successful, but you can still get a unit 350, 450. Okay, so that's not bad. I mean, you can get a unit for 400,000 The 20%, 80,000 goes a lot further than anywhere else. Because if you had to pay, say, 700,000 for the same unit, your 20% is more. 20% of 400 is 80,000 is 80,000. 20% on 700 is 140,000. So it's a lot more money. Okay, so if you can only spend 80,000, you want to find something for 400,000 to invest, or maybe 350, and then you need to start looking outside of the city. Okay, so by no means I'm telling you to buy these condos I'm showing you here, but I'm just want to show you their options. And when you're going to call me or email me personally, because I pick up the phone and I call to every person that emails me, I talk to them personally. That's what I do, and I'll talk to them and say, okay, buddy, what are you trying to achieve here? Are you looking for a new sale, a resale, assignment? You want to put a tenant right in? What's important to you? What's your term? Are you looking to flip? Are you a long term? Are you a medium term? Will you leave it for your kids? You just want to buy it and hold it long term, or maybe you just want to flip it. Whatever it is, tell me, and we'll find you the best investment possible. The other thing is that, all day, every day, I get so many emails from developers trying to sell me on their properties. Now, most of those I delete immediately. Some of these I look at, and just a few I call them back and say, you know what, I want some information. And I actually call them and I speak with the developers or with their representatives, and I ask them the right questions, basically to find out if the project I want to tell my investor base, I think this is a good opportunity here. So that's what we do. And again, it doesn't mean that, let's say we all came and bought a project A or project B. Obviously, there's no guarantees in life. That's why it's an investment. It's got risk. If you want no risk, you buy a GIC, but you only make 1 or 2%. What we try to do is, and that's, my entire focus is to go for solid, long-term investments that I can close on and be very happy with. Now, once in a while, we find crazy flips. You can make 50, 100, 200, 300, $500,000. Somebody called me the other day and said, oh, my client invested $1 million in a condo here in King West, and they bought it a year and a half ago. I said, you know what? That building did so well. Your client made $500,000 in appreciation. I'm absolutely sure of it. That's an agent. Are you sure? Yossi said, yes. This unit is easily worth $1.5 million. That was it. So, you want to find these, obviously. To buy a $1 million unit, you got to put down $200,000 or $250,000. But if you only have 40 or 80, you can find something that you can start with. Increase the value, make a really good investment, and then, you can keep it, refinance it, put a tenant, take the money out, or sell it, whatever it is, and start to increase the value of your portfolio and basically make yourself rich. It is possible. People have been doing it for many, many years. I've been doing it for myself and for other people, and you can do it too. Okay? Going back to the map of Hamilton. So now that I gave you this perspective, what should you buy? Should you buy an old house, renovate it, 3-story, and put it, or like a duplex, or should you buy a condo? Okay, well, these are specific questions that we need to look at your personal investment style. Myself, I do a lot of condo work because condos are very easy, and I don't have to worry about them. They're new, they're under warranty, someone's taking care of everything. My tenants are always taken care of, and they're easy to buy and easy to sell. Now, if I wanted to buy an old house and I think there's big margin there, and I wanted to do the big reno, and I told you and I showed you that we do renos. It's not a problem, but like this one here. But when you do a reno, okay, what happens when you do a reno is you need more cash up front, because you got to pay for that reno. It's not free, and it's not like you may be able to finance it, but that's not the point. The point is when you do the reno. So, just look what $70,000 will get you in a 40-year-old building, in this case, the Summit, okay? It gets you brand new floors. We redid the ceiling here. Everything was painted and redone. All the light fixtures. These glass doors alone were about $10,000 or $12,000. These California-style closets are very expensive. This is a very good price we got. This kitchen is phenomenal, custom-made. With these beautiful appliances. The fridge dispenses ice, double soaker. Okay, but that's what you would expect downtown. You would not expect anything less. Here, I can deliver you $1 million value. This is 1,100 square feet at a fraction of the price at $799. So that's very, very important. I mean, everything here is brand new. So we probably save $20,000 or $30,000 on the reno because we use the best people. We plan it really well. but this is the level of finishes you wanna find. Now you can find this level of finishes also at other places. You can absolutely find them. Okay, so I look here. Let's say if I put it, what do I have here? This is Toronto. So I'll put Hamilton. Hamilton. Aha. How do I get rid of Toronto here? I don't know. That's right. Let me see if I can. Let me see if we can do this. Oh, hack con. Oh, successful hacked condo now. Okay, good. So, not a real hack, but it worked. So now let's look here. And again, I'm not saying exactly like you should buy this one or that one. If you call me, I'll tell you which one is I like and why and what's available, because I want to see that the price is still good. I want to see that people spend more or less the same money as you. I don't want you to come and go and buy something that someone else paid just a couple of months ago 50,000 less. It's going to be a problem when you come to flip. But if there's a good opportunity, I want to know. I want to let you know. So here we're looking at, say, 300,000 for just under 500 square feet, up to about 600,000 for almost 1,000 feet. So just under 600 a foot. Okay, interesting. Here we're looking at same price range, about 4 to 6, just under 4 to 5. This is the low threes. Now, also these are good examples. Don't forget that it may not be updated. I don't know, but just to give you like a good idea of what's going on, you can see it's a lot more affordable. But also there's many products available. So what to choose, what not to choose. Now you need to look at. Like, there's Television City, giant condos. Should you buy a condo in a giant development and the city does not have a single tower? Or should you buy something that is more like the area, which is a low rise or a mid rise or maybe a townhouse? Like something like this. Like, do you want to invest in a giant condo in a city that does not have any? Well, it probably will have. I mean, the world's going into vertical living in urban areas. 90% of the world population moving into these, and you can see more and more towers in Hamilton. So maybe it is a good time to invest in Hamilton in a giant condo. And there's pros and cons for everything. So ask me, when you call me, ask me like, Yossi, what do you think? Should we go in here? Should we go there? I mean, here's Citizen Development, which is great because they built L Tower and the Marilyn Monroe in Mississauga. So a lot of the larger developers are now switching because it's so expensive for the developers to find land in Toronto, and they have to charge you 13 to 100 a foot, or maybe 15 or more. So maybe there's an opportunity for you here that like I used to invest in Toronto, and I used to buy $200 a foot, and then 250, and then 300, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6, and now it's 1,500 a foot. See what's going on here? But I've been doing this, for 20 years. Okay, that's a Kitchener. We looked at that. Here's the Hamilton map. Here's a very nice project here. This is called the Metalworks in Guelph. The Metalworks. Okay, so that's called the Copper Club. I have information. This is a project that I do like, and if you want more information, I have the exact prices. I'm in contact with the developer, and I can really make a good recommendation of what I believe is a good option for you. Okay. And again, we got to look at, some people like to buy the 1 bedroom, some people like the 2. In this case, I tend to actually go for smaller 2-bedroom units, because I think there's a lot of value, especially when you get out of town in 2 bedrooms. There's literally not enough 2-bedroom units or 3 bedrooms anywhere. There's so many 1-bedroom units, but the question is, do you want to buy 1,100 square foot 2-bedroom? Or maybe that's an owner-occupied unit. So if you're going to live in there, maybe you want a larger unit because it's affordable. But if you're going to rent it out, maybe you want to pay less tax and less condo fees and find a good plan for a 2-bedroom. Now here, this is the one that came by default, 654. It's a very nice unit, L-shaped kitchen, everything. But is it the most efficient condo for investing? Okay, so ask me this, and we'll go over a few plans and we'll find the one is most efficient. Maybe I'm going to look for something like this, where the den can be closed and you can do another bed here. Okay? Or maybe the larger version with the larger den, like this one here. That's a Jack and Jill plan. That's a really nice, and they call it a den because it does have a window, but really this is one of the units, all the units that I used to own look just like this. It's 700 square feet. So, that's not a bad idea. There's like a complete separate living area and a complete separate living room with a little patio. Pretty good, okay? I also like townhomes. I like units on main level and so on and so forth. There's a video here. I'll turn the volume down, but there's a video here that shows you how they took an old metalwork. So I guess they were making some metals there, banging up the stuff, and they made it into a very modern style development. I think it's really cool. It's right on the water. It's a nice community, large outdoor areas. I really, really like communal areas. I think that's the way to go. I spoke to you about Jane Jacobs. Look her up on Wikipedia. But Jane Jacobs lived in Toronto, and she really talked about that your community in your area should be like a self-containing village. Okay, so you should be able to have a school in there. You should be able to walk to work, do everything you need without leaving town. That's why these developments that do present these opportunities are very favorable in my opinion, and I think your tenants and the people will stay long time, okay, and you'll see slow rate of selling because it's so convenient to live in a self-sustaining community. And because this is happening, that's a place to invest in, okay. That's to me very, very important. You understand? If I need to get in the car and drive every day, a suburb or subdivision kind of thing, it's okay. But do I like this kind of living? Maybe, maybe not. Personally, I am not so crazy about this type of living, but I can see why if you have a family and you don't want to be downtown, it's a great option for you. But you can always buy another place in a suburb, another place in a subdivision. They just seem to grow on and on and on. But once you have a very good community that goes up, everyone wants to be there because that's how it is. When it's, everyone wants to be in a good club, but no one wants to be in a club that nobody goes to. So you want to find that really good VIP club and get the best unit you can, the best seat in the club you can, but pay the least amount of money, and then maybe you can rent seats in your booth kind of thing, speaking club speak, to others. And so this to me, Metalworks, I think it's a good option. The DTK is a good option, although you can see how the prices of these are really coming up quick. So you want to find them in that spot where it's still affordable. Here's another, this one called Lux or Luxy, the next generation living. They have actually a very nice presentation here. And this is in Western, so this is London, Ontario, and it's close to Western. So these are basically, you're buying condos here which will be made for students to live. So, your average rental will be 1 to 4 years. It's completely managed, and this is really, it's a pure investment. You just buy the investment and they do everything for you. I really, really like this thing. I have the information about these condos, and some of these properties will give you anywhere from 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5-year rental guarantee. So if you see anything between 2 and 5-year rental guarantee, you should pay serious attention. Because to me as an investor, if I have something for the first 2 or 3 years, it's enough for me to kink all the problems, to kind of get everything straightened up. And then I can just, sell the unit or just keep it, give it to my kids, whatever it is. But that's the idea, so I can invest less amount. There's also a project, we have some assignments in Oshawa, in the IT university. You can also invest there. But Oshawa has a bit of problems because of GM. So I'm staying away from Oshawa until we see what happens with GM. Okay, so that's the Lux. Here's the brochure. I'll just run you through it. I don't know if you can hear the page flip. But they show you what's going on. They show you about London. They show all the factories. 3M very, very famous in London. 3M stands for Minnesota Mining and Metals, I believe. Okay, it's got 500,000 people. It's the 11th largest community in Ontario. It's got transportation, it's got jobs. London is serious. So here is the area where all the students go to. Okay, and they'll stay here. And I think it's good to invest in a popular area because, it attracts everything. It attracts everyone. So in a way, it's good to be where other investors are too, because everyone's going to come there anyways. Everyone knows about the building. Everyone knows about the opportunity. And, excuse me, so there's an advantage to you, but when it's so busy, you also have to make sure you find the best unit possible at the best price possible at the best project possible. And that's a trick, because I guarantee you right now that most investors do not do that. They buy an okay unit, maybe in a good project, maybe an okay, but they don't buy the best units, although it's right in front of their eyes. They just don't know what to pick. Okay, everyone thinks that they know everything about real estate because it's so popular and you can get the information anywhere, but it's not necessarily true. Okay, and it's the little things that make the difference. Okay, so let me summarize here. Okay, so should I invest outside of Toronto? So I'll tell you this. First of all, if your funds are limited but you want to invest, you should definitely look into investing outside Toronto. And if you want to send me an email or respond to this post or video, you can, and I'll send you some information. Just fill the contact form or send me your email or call me, whatever it is, it's okay. I'll reach back and I'll show you options. That's the very first thing. Number two is, if your funds are limited, and you still want to invest in real estate, Ontario is good. Ontario is an amazing place to live in, and I really couldn't think of any other better province or state to live in, and that's why I'm here. That's why I am here. You are here. We are here. We are very, very grateful to be in Canada, to be in Ontario, to be in Toronto right now. It's a safe place. It's a good place. Maybe it's a little cold, but everything is cool. The people are nice. Everything is good. I mean, this is really the best living humanity has had over many, many years, maybe ever. Okay? Canada is amazing. That's why everyone's coming here. There's probably like 300,000 legal immigrants come here. There's probably a 500,000 people, 200,000 which are all kinds of other immigrants coming here. There's about 500,000 people coming to Toronto, and probably out of these 500,000, about 400, 300 coming to the GTA alone. But then makes the prices very, very high. So if I'm just starting to expand out of the GTA, and look at this, Badlands expanding out of the GTA, Citizen expanding out of GTA, a lot of small-time developers expanding out of GTA. I look for solid developers, not the smallest ones, because they, one project, one problem, and they can go under. But the large, stable developers, they're going to deliver good products at good price. And that's what I look for. Me personally, I like stability. I like long term. To me, if I pay another couple percent, 5%, whatever, it doesn't matter, because to me, to sleep good at night is the most important thing. Because if I fire and forget, if I buy this investment, invest in this investment, and it works well for me, that's worth everything. Some of my investments, when I started investing, I still have a couple of these early investments that I actually put the deposit down in the 90s or the early 2000s. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I've had the unit for 10 years or 12 years, and by the time I have the unit for 20 years, it more or less paid for itself. That's insane. I mean, at the time, I put the 20% of the time, which was nothing, like $50,000 or whatever it was. There's no way I cannot hunker down and do what I gotta do and come up with a deposit and buy something. So if I can buy that something in Toronto, great. If I cannot, I'm gonna move to the secondary area, which is Hamilton, Brantford, Guelph, Kitchener-Wateroo, and I'm gonna start looking for developments, because people can't afford it. So they're either buying outside the city or renting outside the city. I can tell you a lot of my personal friends that I know for many, many years, and a lot of these people have families now, and they're usually on their second or third child now. A lot of them are moving out of town or moving out of the core. Number one, they want the space. Number two, it's too expensive. So everyone's doing it. Used to be looked upon down, oh man, you got to leave out of Toronto. What do you think to yourself? This area is bad. No more the case. Now everything's fair game. Everything's fair game to live. And when you have really good quality of people going to all these towns, those towns themselves are becoming more and more popular. And of course, more and more people move there, and more. Maybe someone lives in Brantford or Hamilton or Guelph, Kitchener-Wateroo, and maybe they still work in Toronto, so they drive to Toronto twice a week, and the other times they work remotely, okay? Or maybe they just start a home office, they work out of the home office. There's a lot of options. There's space for your kids, there's space for you, there's nature, there's everything you need to have an amazing life with quality people and quality life, quality living, quality level of living, without really taking anything down. Actually, you don't have traffic, you don't have noise, you don't have 24/7 construction. and it's more livable, it's more social. So people, and the lifestyle is not necessarily slower, but the pace is good. It's a very constant pace. Okay, so you have options. You have options. In the next while, I will show you more options, whether it's Hamilton, Guelph, Kitchener-Wateroo, Brantford, maybe even other places. But just so you understand, okay, it's time to look outside of Toronto. It's time to look at what else is available. Here we are. This is Toronto. I'm not going east mainly because of the GM stuff. I want to see what's going to happen with GM before I make any announcement of like buying there, with the exception of buying closer to university. If you're buying around Queens or you're buying around the IT university, I think those are good. But again, let's look at the price you're paying for it, your monthly carrying cost, and what the income is, and look at the ratio and see what the ratio is best, what fits your personal profile. I may be able to find you 3, 4, and even 5-year rental guarantee. These to me are very, very good. We had a project in Ottawa, Founders Residence, fantastic. And the reason it's so good is because you can just fire and forget. You can just do this investment and just let it go. And that is so important, because the moment you do this investment and let it go, you don't have to worry about it, and just let it sit there and work for you, and you can sell it either during the term or at the end of the term, or just keep it. Okay, so my friends, this is what I want to tell you today. Should you invest out of Toronto? Should I invest outside of Toronto? I think yes. I think it's time to do this. I'd say it's time to look at it. I'm very excited about investing anywhere, really. Everything's fair game. I like to stay where I can drive to, or take the GO bus or train. That'd be very good. And I like to stay where there's industry. I like to stay where there's good economy. I like to be where there's university. I like to stay where I see good acceleration of prices. And I like to beat the market. I like to beat the crowd. So if a developer is going there and a famous developer is going there, you better pay attention, okay? Because these guys are, by the time you hear about the developer announcing a project, it's been 2, 3, maybe 5 years in the making, okay? So they know something we don't, or you don't, I do maybe, okay? So that's what we're doing. That's where we're going. And I wish you all the luck. Call me, text me, email me, follow me, creep me, subscribe, hit the bell, all these things. Thank you very much. That's it.